Good evening and welcome to our exams appeals process webinar. I hope this finds you well, and I hope that this evening will answer a few questions for you. We have Mr. Leary and Mrs. Pearson, who will also be delivering parts of the presentation this evening. And should you have any questions, then please direct those in the chat function. I'll show you how to do that in a minute or two. But if we can move on to the next slide, please. First of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody involved with the support that you gave to your children and also to the school over the last 18 months. I think the current year 11 have had quite a difficult time, and I really do have a huge degree of sympathy for them. But thanks to the support that you have put in place and working with the school, this has enabled us to hopefully minimise any problems caused by COVID-19. Thank you. If we move on. Okay, so this evening's webinar, if I could ask you to please mute your microphones. What the main aim is to clarify the appeals process and the timings involved in that. And obviously also provide some useful links at the end of the presentation for you. If you have been unable to attend this evening, please do not worry. This is being recorded and will be put up on the school's YouTube channel tomorrow. Okay, thank you. If you have any questions, if you click onto the middle of the screen, and it should bring up that little options box there. You click on the chat function and then type your questions in at the bottom. So you click on what's been pointed at by the blue arrow, and your questions will go in what is pointed by the red arrow. I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Leary, who is going to talk you through some of the key elements and also some of the jargon that is involved in discussing the exams. Mr. Leary.
Thank you there. Just want to give a little reminder that our exams results day is not going to take place at Banovallum, but you will be going to Stanhope Hall. Now, there are one or two key points on there. Firstly, notice the date change. It is the 12th of August. It's normally the last Thursday in August. It's not, it's the 12th of August. And the results will be issued from 9:30 until 11. Due to the fact that we're still in COVID restrictions, we will need a negative COVID test and face coverings may be required. However, if you can't get in for whatever reason, then the results will be emailed to the student's personal email address from 12 noon. That won't start earlier than that. It will be from 12 noon. If you've requested them by post, obviously they'll be posted out on this date. We're not allowed by the exam boards to let anybody see any results before 8:30 on the 12th of August. There's an embargo in place. And unlike past years where you've had other members of staff looking and celebrating results and offering support and advice, only the leadership team and exam staff will be present on that day. Few things. Well, it's all different this year. We've got tags. These are the teacher assessed grades. So when your son or daughter has done a grade, that member of staff has simply taken all the information together and they have given them that grade. That's the shorthand for tags. The JCQ, as you can see on there, this is the people who we're responsible to, and also the exam boards, the Joint Council for Qualifications. They oversee everything and they're the people whose directives we are following. The awarding bodies, these are the exams board, and the centre, that is the school. Now, during this process, you may hear terms like moderation. This is the term where the staff are making sure that the grades are accurate and fair. This is when other people mark work. This is when it's passed around between departments, and this is when it's looked at by a number of staff to make sure it is fair and accurate. The quality assurance is making sure that we are following what we said we would do. So making sure that everything's carried out effectively, but also appropriately. And malpractice in this case is anything that is going to compromise any of that integrity, particularly the teacher assessed grades or any of the quality assurance that has taken part within that. So a question we have been asked is, if you know the grades, why can't you tell the students or the parents? Well, first of all, we don't actually know what the grade will be. It's the exam boards that are the awarding bodies. They may change the grades up or down. And secondly, we could also be guilty of malpractice if we mentioned any of this to students, to the parents or the carers. So we can only let the grades go out from the awarding body on the results day. So if any member of staff had this conversation before, they are in fact committing exam malpractice. Well, the grades are the students. So therefore, it's the students who would trigger the appeal, and more detail will come onto that later on. Just a reminder, if you choose to do an appeal, the grades may go down as well as up. When you place an appeal, you'll have to sign a declaration saying that you accept this fact, that your grade may go down and you may get a lower grade than your original teacher assessed grade and also the one from the awarding body. Thank you, Mr. Edgar.
Thank you. I am now going to talk through the actual appeals. Okay, if we could have the next slide, please. Okay, so because of the strange nature of this year's exams, the JCQ have said that there are two main different types of appeal. One is a priority appeal. Priority appeals are only open to A-level students who are starting their university this autumn, and they have missed out on their conditions of their firm or their insurance offer. So when you apply for university, you put in an application for your favourite, basically, and your second favourite. So if you have missed out on the grades for those, you are the priority students. So this does not apply to the Banovallum students, and JCQ cannot and will not offer priority appeals for the GCSE students. So this means that the GCSE appeals will not be processed until the 3rd of September at the earliest. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what are the grounds for appeal? When the student believes that we have made an administrative error. An example of this would be putting the wrong information onto a spreadsheet. So that could be something there. So you may have pressed the level 6, the 6th key instead of the 7 key. So that would be the type of administrative error that would come up. Or when the student believes that we have made a procedural error. This means that we've not properly followed our own process set out in our centre policy and approved by the exam board. An example of this could be where you've been told that you should have received extra time for your assessments, but this was not given in a certain subject. Thank you. There are further grounds for appeal. When a student believes that the academic judgment on the selection of the evidence was unreasonable. So this means that when the student thinks the evidence used to grade them was not reasonable. And when the student believes that the academic judgment on the grade they were given was unreasonable. So what does unreasonable mean? Thank you. So first one that we had there was the academic judgment based on the selection of the evidence. Given the broad range of evidence that used by the school to arrive at the tags, this might prove difficult to prove as unreasonable. We try to include as much evidence as possible before we made our final decision. But this does mean that just because other forms of evidence could have been used to arrive at the tags, it doesn't necessarily follow that the school has acted unreasonably in not using these other pieces of evidence. Now, this is going to be very difficult over the year because the flexibility of the approach, every school and college will have used different forms of evidence. Thank you. The academic judgment on the grade. In this context, unreasonable means that if an educational professional basing their judgment on the same evidence as the school arrives at a significantly different grade, then the school has acted unreasonably and the grade may be changed. So looking at all the evidence, if, for example, another history teacher believed that our history grades were significantly different, then they would find that the school has acted unreasonably and the grade may be changed. Thank you. Now, a student may disagree with the awarded grade, but that does not in itself make the awarded grade unreasonable. Thank you. There will be no remarks. The independent reviewers will not remark or grade students' evidence. Instead, they will look to see whether any teacher acting reasonably could have arrived at the award grade. So they can away some examples of our work and our processes, and they're looking to see if any other teacher acting reasonably would have arrived at the same grades. There will not be any remarks on this. I'm now going to hand over to Mrs. Pearson, who's going to talk through the processes and how to appeal. Thank you.
Good evening. So I will go through the how to appeal. So parents, carers and students have all got JCQ student and parent guides before appealing. You just need to make sure you go through these on the school website. We've got those on the links directly for you and at the end of this presentation. There's 2 stages to an appeal. The first stage being what we're calling the centre review and stage 1. All successful, so we just need to make sure that anything that we do have followed is in line with this policy. The outcome of the centre review will then be communicated to the student and once this has all been fully completed. So the next stage would be the awarding organisation appeal. If you are not happy for any reason that the centre review has not been dealt with correctly, or you feel it needs to go further, then you'd need to go to the next stage of that appeal. All the forms that you'd need to complete are on the school website, and the process would be stage 1 first, and then we will follow that through with you. We need to make sure that we send these onto the exam board. You're not allowed to automatically go to an appeal to an exam board directly. You must come through us first. And the outcome of any awarding organisation appeal will be communicated to the students once this has been completed. So how do you appeal? So following results day, the full form that is available for you is on our website. The links are on there to the JCQ form, which is on a PDF and also on a Word document, so you can complete either way. This form needs to be emailed to Exams Appeals 21 at Banovallum School and marked for my attention. We can only access that email address. Please don't send this to any other email address, as we can't guarantee it will be seen. So deadlines for appeals. So the first deadline we have is for 2 p.m. on Friday the 3rd of September. So all appeals need to be emailed to the school email address by that date to make sure we can start stage 1 of the appeal for you. Once we've answered and replied to your appeal, we can then look at the next deadline, which would be 2 p.m. on Thursday the 9th of September. These are strict deadlines, and there will not be any wavering on these deadlines, but due to exam board deadlines we have to adhere to as well. And I'll pass back to Mr. Edgar.
Right, thank you. I hope that has covered everything with regards to the appeals. Apologies there for the loss of sound, but but everything is covered in the letter. I will just look now at the chat and see if there are any questions. Right, there are no questions at the moment. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to type into the chat box, or have we covered everything in terms of the appeals? Right, okay, that would appear that there are no questions. Please, if you do have any questions, can you send those in to the school via the admin@banovallumschool.co.uk email address marked exams, and we will try and respond to those. As you can see here on the last slide, I nearly forgot about that. We have got the useful links. So we've got our general exams information on the Banovallum website. We've got the JCQ website for this summer 2021 arrangements, and we've also put up there the Banovallum Centre policy. Everything is there should you need it. And we are updating the school website regularly with any information as and when it comes out. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that's proven useful. As I said, this will be up on YouTube hopefully tomorrow. And as I said, if you have any further questions arising, please do not hesitate to get in touch with the school. Thank you very much indeed, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.